What's up, watchers? Will here with the Legendary Monsters video for this week. So, I figured that since Legendary has reintroduced Godzilla to American audiences, and Toho has rebirthed it, or researched it in their own way with Shin Godzilla, I think we should have a little showdown. Now, of course, this battle has probably been done to death on other channels, but I want to take a shot at it. I'd say, why don't we put Toho's Shin Godzilla against the 2014 Legendary Godzilla? Now, the short answer of who I think would win is Shin Godzilla, but why would he win? That's the long answer. Let's start by measuring them up, literally. The Legendary Godzilla stands at 108.2 meters tall, 276 meters long, and weighs in at 90,000 tons. The Shin Godzilla in its fourth form, the one we'll be using for this match, stands at a slightly taller 118.5 meters, 333 meters long, and weighs in at 92,000 tons. So, both are pretty similar build, with Shin slightly edging out Legendary a little bit in size and mass. Next up is personality. Though it may sound silly, this does play a role in how motivated they would be to cause destruction to one another. Legendary Godzilla being territorial, yet very focused on accomplishing his goals, essentially ignoring the military to hunt down the Mutos and acting as a sort of balancer for nature rather than a force of it. By comparison, the Toho Shin is a cold, detached, ruthless monster, but also like Legendary, not outright being hostile. However, unlike Legendary, who caused more destruction by happenstance, Toho Shin is much more reactionary, such as when it was missile bomb. This Godzilla is much more a force of nature rather than an emissary of it. Now, what truly matters in this debacle: abilities. What can these monsters do? Both Godzillas have the standard amphibious abilities and atomic breath. However, the Legendary Godzilla's gills appear to be a weak point for it, while Toho Shin's were not. Now, to the standard atomic breath. Legendary has a bright, whitish blue focused energy beam. Though unfortunately we only saw it when Godzilla was already weak from battle, we cannot determine if this was a last-ditch maneuver or not. Hopefully it isn't, and we can see more as time goes on. Toho Shin, by comparison, has a purple, focused, laser-type beam that can slice through buildings, as well as having an atomic ash that can be lit aflame and burn its surroundings. In a similar manner, it can also fire the atomic beams out of its dorsal fins and tail and up into the surrounding air, as it was used to take down flying aircrafts. The only issue is that, not necessarily time-limited, Toho Shin does have to cool down as not to overheat its body. This Godzilla also has a sort of radiative force that can destroy and spread across the area as it travels. Also, though not included in this flight, there was an art for a fifth and final form, assumed to be much bigger and stronger than the fourth form, the one we're currently discussing, making it potentially even more of a threat. It is implied that this Godzilla can induce matter manipulation as it experiences some type of evolutionary process, and if it deemed necessary, could have possibly achieved flight or changed in size to become bigger or smaller. Finally, what are their weaknesses? These were previously mentioned, as the Legendary Godzilla does seemingly have vulnerable gills, while Toho Shin has a necessary cooldown period and a weakness to man-made blood coagulants. So finally, the biggest source I would say that leads to Shin Toho's victory is the high variability of its abilities. With more areas to cover with its atomic blast, it's frankly bigger, and potential to not only evolve but also achieve flight, which we haven't really seen too many other Godzillas do except for one. And what we've seen on film is enough to convince me that Shin Toho is the true king of the monsters, despite Legendaries being stockier and frankly having a greater arm reach. But let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments below who you think would win in a fight, the Legendary Monsterverse Godzilla or the Toho Shin Godzilla. Big shout out to the Godzilla Wiki for the information, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content from Hybrid Network. I'm Will, and I'll see you later.